In our lesson today, we're going to look for connections between the three texts that we've read. Listing the connections on a chart like this one can help us identify similarities and differences. I'm going to model for you my thinking behind completing the Ozymandias part of this chart, and then you will complete for the Tragedy of Macbeth and What of This Goldfish Would You Wish? You can see we've already filled in the title, the author, and the genre of each of the works. The first row asks me to consider any archetypes or literary devices used by the author. Well, I know the poem is a sonnet, and I know from my analysis that the author used irony. The once great king is now nothing more than a broken statue. He was very descriptive in the imagery that he used regarding the statue and the vast desert. So I want to include that he used strong imagery. Also from my analysis, I know the poet used a metaphor. The broken statue in the desert represents the fact that the king, who was once mighty and powerful, now has nothing. The second row asks me to consider the emotions felt by the characters. Well, our main character in this is the traveler who's telling the story. And the traveler describes the statue using negative words like sneer and cold. He talks about the trunkless legs. And so all of these things give a negative feeling about the statue's broken presence. So I would say the traveler felt negatively. Remember, the type of words used by the author create the mood for the reader. The negative tone words that the author used helped create more of a reflective mood, I think, on the reader, and the irony of the situation that the once great king is now nothing more than a broken statue can really make the reader feel somber about his or her own mortality. Short poems don't often have a conflict in the same way that a story or a drama would, but I think the words on the statue talk of a mighty king. His power and wealth did not last, and that was a problem for him. Lastly, on this comparison chart, we need to consider the possible theme or lesson that the author wants the reader to learn. In this case, I think that the poet was trying to show us that power is temporary and that all things will eventually come to an end. And I can support these themes with evidence from the text. Use a similar thought process to complete the columns for the Tragedy of Macbeth and What of This Goldfish Would You Wish? You can use your notes and refer back to the stories in the textbook to help you in your understanding.